that. And...
Oh, you know what I do have? I have that other stool, the race car seat.
That's alright. That's okay.
One facing you and one facing me.
Hey.
Well, Buck, it's just about done. Thought this would be kind of cool to sit down and talk about what all it takes to get one of these back on the road after it's been sitting for so long.
A lot of elbow grease. A lot of work, chasing down parts, trying to find out colors, locations, placements.
Yeah, I think one of the big things is it's important. Luckily, you know, this is my dad's truck. It was important to kind of have the money squared away right off the bat if you want to do this quickly. I say quickly. This took about 9 months all said and done. It took us a year in total, but I moved and we had another baby, so not me and him, but me and my wife had another baby, and so that kind of backed us up, and then we obviously moved into the new shop. So basically 3 months out of that year that it's taken us to get to today. It really took about 9 months, just nights, weekends, days off, you know, having some, you know, holiday weekends and stuff. But, you know, obviously we didn't spend every weekend and every day off doing this because you get burned out real quick. But
and I'm just a helper, really, so this dude's in charge, and I would just jump in every now and then.
Well, it's been a huge help that you've been able to do all the videos for the YouTube channel, because I'm completely lost when it comes to that. But just know, all said and done, we have about, with the purchase of the truck, this doesn't include the fuel going to get the thing and all that stuff, but we did go out to Wisconsin, and we're in Indiana. So we did go out to Wisconsin and pick this up. I don't remember how far it was.
Northern Wisconsin, I think it was like something like 7 hours? Or
8 out, yeah, 8-10 hours, probably all said and done one way. We went in February, which is a great time to
after
visit.
a snowstorm.
Yeah, a great time to visit that place.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember, but we were slipping and falling and digging the trailer out.
Yeah.
It was a mess. And my truck is 2-wheel drive because I moved up here from the south, so there was no way we were going to get my truck up that driveway. But, you know, so essentially we've got about $16,000 to $18,000 all said and done into this. It's not worth that, probably. Maybe it is. I don't know. It's probably more in the $13,000 range. So, in my experience, which I don't have a crazy amount, but I have quite a bit of experience selling cars and going through old cars and stuff. It's always cheaper to buy one that's already done. Even if they tell you they have everything for it. They told us, and I'm not knocking the guy we bought it from, because he was a huge help in getting this thing back on the road, but the truck was taken apart for 30 years. It moved storage locations several times. Stuff went missing. Stuff gets lost. Even for me, when I just moved, 20 minutes away from my old house, the other day I was looking for putting the door handles and the window cranks on, and I couldn't find the other window crank. I know I had it. I have pictures of it. I know I had it. Couldn't for the life of me find it.
It's gone.
Could not find it. So I had to order one of those. Luckily, there's a decent supply of these. Enough Larks and stuff got parted out over the years that there's a good amount of parts for these, because this is a Lark cab. So, but when we got it, the engine was stuck. That was a lot of fun getting that unstuck.
Yeah.
Luckily, the engine didn't have to come out, but there were a couple of bent push rods. Still got a little bit of a valve train noise, but we'll see what happens with it. But we didn't have to replace the engine, rebuild the engine. But just know, that could have very easily gone the other way. We could have needed to rebuild the engine and added another probably $3,000 to $5,000 on top of what we already have into it.
It's also important to know that you're holding up garage space this whole time. So if you have other vehicles, if you have other projects coming in, if your car breaks down and you have a lift and now the thing is on the lift, now you have no lift and now you're stuck, and it was a lot of those games, pushing things in and out and around the thing and holding up space, and it's going to be, if you're not ready, don't take on car restorations, because it's going to be
we didn't even do a full restoration on this. I mean, this was basically get it back on the road, I would consider the interior being restored, but the paint is not very good on this truck. It was painted with lacquer 30 years ago, and it wasn't a very good paint job to begin with. So there's spider cracks all over this truck, and it's really solid. There's only a few small pieces of rust here and there, floor pans, a little spot in the bed, a little spot on the cab, but just know if you wanted to actually do a full restoration on this truck, figure another probably $10,000 to $15,000 for a good paint job. And that's only because they don't have to cut out a lot of rust. There's a little bit, so there's a little body work. The floors had to be a little patched a little bit, but if you were to pay a shop to do that, it'd be at least $10,000 to $15,000 for a pretty good paint job. And that's not even top notch. Top notch paint job easily run you $25,000 to $30,000 for this, which obviously these trucks, they're not worth it. It's not worth that kind of money to put in a truck like this. It's never going to Pebble Beach. It's never going to Concord Show. So we unstuck the engine. Radiator didn't leak. So, the radiator, if it would have been leaking, that's an easy, couple $100 at least for a new radiator. But we did carb rebuild, fuel pump,
brakes.
Brakes.
Starter.
The gas tank was actually disgusting. Not too bad, but there was some spot where some fuel had pooled, and it actually rotted away a couple of pinholes. So we had to strip everything, line the tank. We had to, weld the tank up. So if the gas tank was much worse than it was, it would have needed to be replaced. There's one guy who reproduces these tanks, $700, $800 plus shipping, and it would have been freight shipping. So you probably would have been another $1,100, $1,200 into a gas tank for this. So just know that we have that much tied up into it. And that's if you do everything yourself. You're not paying anybody to do anything else. So we have, probably $11,000, $12,000 in parts and materials.
It also helps to work at the restoration shop, so you can go, get your tools or a blasting cabinet or this or that, or just know people that know people and where to go and to whom go.
I'm definitely fortunate enough to know people with blast cabinet and be able to go blast some parts when I need them. But blast cabinets, they're not that expensive, and you could definitely justify owning one in a two-car garage. It's well worth for what you do here. But so we had push rod problems. It does leak a little bit. The seals, they're probably not going to come back around. So my dad's okay with it leaking. If it were my project, the engine would come out and we'd reseal everything, paint it, make it look nice. But
so it smokes a little, okay? It's an old guy, it just smokes a little.
It does smoke a little. There's new battery, hold down.
Charging wheeler.
Yep. So we did a one wire alternator, which is actually a Chrysler alternator that we stuck a one wire kit in. So it has a one wire alternator now. So there's a lot of things you can do to these to make them more reliable. I've had really good luck with one wire conversions. I wouldn't suggest whoever converted this. I'm not sure who converted it. It may have been the guy we bought it from or the guy he bought it from. But they put a Chrysler ignition system on it, and a Chrysler alternator. I'm a Chrysler guy, but that's about as unreliable as it gets. So I wouldn't suggest that. But we had the heater core tested okay, so we pressure tested that. We put a few pounds in it. It held, so no leakage there. But the heater valve was rotted. You can't get another one of those. You'll just have to find one in another truck or another 5960 Mark. And you'll have to have it rebuilt or rebuild it yourself. So ours was too far gone, so I've retrofitted, or I'm in the process actually now. It's one of the few things we have left to do on it. Retrofitting just an off-the-shelf generic heater valve. But new soft line, everywhere that there's a soft line, it's all been replaced on this. Radiator hoses, fuel lines, heater hoses, All that'll be new. All new ductwork in the HVAC. I took the actual heater box, which is like a fiberglass plastic box that's riveted together in two halves. We cleaned all that out, so it shouldn't smell like mouse house. All that. All new soft duct hoses to the heater outlets. We serviced the transmission, which also leaks a little bit. So really, if you want to get this thing to the next level, really, valve train investigation should be done. Resealing of the engine at least. Resealing the transmission. The rear end doesn't actually leak, so we'll take that.
Any day.
But, another problem with these kind of oddball stuff, which is kind of what we like, it's very hard to get just normal parts that you would have no problems getting for a 57 Chevy or a 57 Ford or whatever. But, we had to have the brake shoes on the front relined. So there's a shop in Fort Wayne, Indiana that took care of that for us, no problem. It wasn't that much money. But understand that's one of those things you will have to do. Hopefully that the actual shoes are in good shape and you can actually have them relined. So wheel bearings are new, freshly packed, brakes are adjusted, new master cylinder, wheel cylinders all the way around, which we played a lot of fun getting new wheel cylinders. I would highly suggest, even if you were to get new wheel cylinders for whatever, sending them out and having a stainless liner put in them, especially if you're not going to drive it all the time. That's just a little added anti-corrosion preventative that you can put on your brakes. That doesn't cost much. The suspension, we went ahead, greased everything, just gave it the old
new shocks.
Quick lube. We put new shocks on it. We didn't have to do a ton to the suspension. It was all in pretty good shape. Tie rods are in great shape. Ball joints, doesn't really have ball joints because it's a straight axle at front. So the kingpins, they were in good shape. This could have been a lot worse, and that's what you don't know until you get into it. A lot of people, you'll see a lot of unfinished projects because people just don't know
what to look for.
Well,
or you just some things you just don't see.
Some things you just can't see when you go to buy it in somebody's garage, and especially this one. It was really cold. We didn't want to spend 6 hours crawling all around the thing, and we drove 8 hours to go pick it up. And you're not going to drive 8 hours to go look at something and then
kick tires and
turn around. You're pretty seriously you want it. You've got an idea of price in mind, and so just know we got lucky in a lot of ways. Radiator was good. All the heater core, the block wasn't cracked or leaking. A lot of these, especially when you're buying cars out of Wisconsin like we did with this one, it gets really cold and it's really easy for water to build up and not having the proper antifreeze in the thing.
Well, yeah, it had no glass, right?
No glass. Well, it had the side windows and the smoke windows, or vent windows, but we found a windshield. So windshield for this, it seems like there's one place that makes them, and it was over $1,000 for the windshield by the time it shipped to my doorstep. The back glass, we were lucky. Studebaker International had a back glass sitting, a used one, in good shape, for $70. So you can't complain about that. So we were able to get a nice back glass. The seals, there's one place you can get them, and that's Studebaker International for this thing. Maybe Stephen Allen down in, I think they're in Florida. Maybe we could have gotten some from them. I'm not sure. Studebaker International is like 50 minutes from my house, and so I could basically place a big order, just go down and pick it up. They're very nice people, very knowledgeable. They gave me a tour of the place. I wish I would have brought the cameras with me when we went down there. We could have showed you everything they got down there, but very nice people, easy to deal with. You call them, somebody answers the phone. I'm not paid by them. They didn't give me any discounts, nothing. They're just very nice people, and they really like the idea of preserving these old Studebakers. This one, it's an oddball. It's an orphan. It really shows where Studebaker was at in 1963. Very crudely built, very old technology for 1963.
Cobbled together.
Very cobbled together. But it was a really fun project, and we just have a few more things to tidy up on it before it goes to live in Connecticut, live out its days. I've already told my dad, don't leave it to me in the will, I don't want it. But it's a lot of fun. The 5-speed's super cool on it. But understand with these oddball stuff, if you want something that's strange or different, understand parts are going to be harder to find. They may not necessarily be any more expensive to buy than conventional, but you got to find them. You'd be much better off if you're not kind of in the car world. You'd be much better off going with something like a Ford or a Chevy or a Dodge. Mostly a Ford or a Chevy even, because a lot of the earlier Dodge stuff, they can be kind of hit or miss. But there's a pretty good following for those old Chryslers. But, this thing's going to need tires, which right then and there, you're looking $600-700 for a set of tires for it. We're going to get the wheels bead blasted. That's $50 a wheel, so it's going to be $200 to get those blasted, because I'm going to have somebody do that for me.
Try not to die with those split rims.
Yep, we're going to put it all back together without split rims, and then we're going to have to find somebody that'll balance it for us. So understand with this oddball stuff, it can be kind of hard to find somebody to balance these split rims. Even just find somebody to mount on a split rim is tough. You got to find an old guy that has a small shop. Those are about the only people you're going to find that'll do split rims. And I'll do them. I'm not really looking to expand my wheelhouse yet, but hopefully in the near future maybe we can take on customer work. This is a customer truck per se, but it's my pop, full disclosure. So just in tires you're gonna have $700. We put 4950 Pontiac taillights on it, which the original Studebaker ones, they didn't look very good. So, it wasn't that much for those, but it's $30 here, $30 here, $20 here, $10 here, and it all adds up, and all of a sudden we're almost $20,000 into this truck. And let's face it, it's not exactly a award-winning, Pebble Beach contestant. So just know it's really easy to get this far into something. Even my old 77 Ford, which I got it as a gift from my wife's grandfather, which that truck had been in her family since new. I got that thing for free, and I was still $5,000 or $6,000 into getting it road ready, and then the engine blew up on it. So these old trucks, old cars, old motorcycles.
It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Quite know. We got lucky in a lot of ways with this, and we were unlucky in other ways. The interior, my buddy did it as a favor for us, so he did it very reasonably. He charged me $2,000, plus we had about $1,000 in materials for the vinyl and foam and carpet, so we were figure about $4,000 by the time you had the dash painted and the pad done and headliner and even staining the screws and clips and all this stuff that you just don't even think about until you're actually doing it. So it gets very expensive even on a free vehicle.
Yeah.
So, and we only paid, I'm not sure if my dad wants me to tell you this, but I think we paid $3,000, $3,500 for this.
Something like that.
Me and him have bought so many cars and trucks.
It's hard to keep track.
It's really hard to keep track what I paid for what. But
and then we drove out to northern Wisconsin, so you gotta, you need to have a trailer and a truck to pull the trailer. You need to put money in the truck to get you there. Stop for lunch.
Yep.
I like to eat a lot on those road trips. It all adds up.
It all adds up. But hey, it's a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. There's a big headache all the time, but especially if you have somebody to come and, you know, just hang out with you, turn some wrenches,
It helps.
throw the seat in, you know, pull the engines out, transmit. It's so much better to have a buddy that helps you out and helps you out with it.
Because you'll get burned out no matter what, no matter how much you love the thing. You just get tired of looking at it day after day.
We are definitely at the point where we're ready to move on to the next project.
See different shapes, different minds.
We, you know, we have some different things. The next project, if you think this one's an orphan, the next project makes this thing look like the biggest production anything. So we've got a super rare project coming on that's for a crazy event that my dad and I are going to do.
It's going to be wild.
And we're really looking forward to it, but we really got to start buttoning this thing up and start on the next project. So stay tuned for that. But we'll kind of do a little bit of a walk around and some B-roll and kind of go through some of the things we've done to it. Just show them once or twice. But you understand when you start one of these projects, you know, it's going to add up quickly, very quickly. And it's a lot of fun, but it's a very expensive hobby, very expensive hobby. But this, at the end of the day, my dad's going to be able to take this. He'll be able to go to Lowe's with it. He'll be able to go to a car show with it. He'll be able to drive to work. This will be a really good, just all-around vehicle, classic car vehicle. Not really a car, but well, it's half car, half truck actually. You know,
It's a hybrid.
This is a car, and then the rest of it's a truck. But you know, we had a good time doing it, I'd say.
Yeah, we did.
And you know, we've got a couple more coming in that are going to be super cool. We're going to get Buck's Pontiac over here too.
Oh yeah, the Buckmobile is going to be
The Buckmobile will make its appearance at CJB headquarters, and we'll go ahead and get a harness put in that.
Upgraded to the world of 12 volt.
Yep. But so, you know, another thing, Bluetooth speaker. You know, we got the Bluetooth amplifier.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's got a Bluetooth radio.
Which we're gonna do for the Buckmobile too. That's the idea.
So, but well, anyhow, we'll stop it here.
Yeah.
Thanks
for hanging out. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Like, share, subscribe. Come back for more. We got some more stuff. Like I said, more project coming down the pipe. So
we're gonna, now that my life has kind of settled down slightly, ever so slightly, we'll hopefully be able to get more content out. And we really hope that we can kind of grow this channel into something special, and I think we can. So we need all your guys' help to do that.
That's right.
All
Tell your
7
friends.
of you guys. And yeah, tell your friends, your grandfather, because let's face it, this stuff doesn't appeal to the younger generation.
That's the demographic, I think, our most watched demographic.
Show it to your grandfather. He might like it. But yeah, we'll do a walk around and kind of just highlight most of the stuff we've done to it. Some of the stuff you can't see because, you know, we're not going to crawl underneath it anymore or anything like that. But, you know, we'll just kind of go front to back, tip to tail, and go through it. So here we go. We're going to start tip, go to the butt, and basically the grill I think was on, but everything else was pretty much off the front. So we got the headlights in, headlight rings, the bumper was already on. So we start from there, we go on inside. We've got new hoses, new well, this was a rebuilt alternator I had sitting around. This charging wire, this is the heater box, so we just painted that. I cleaned it up a little. It is slightly damaged. We'll maybe keep our eye out for another one of these down the road. But you know, we had to clean up a lot of wiring. So here's your ignition box down there, which was originally attached to this voltage regulator. You don't need that anymore. New belt. Water pump was good. New lower hose. Fuel filter, fuel line, brake master. We put new plugs in it. We've got new stainless acorn nuts for the valve cover hold down. Carburetor rebuild. New brake lines. So, you know, luckily the windshield wiper motor was good. We had to clean the contacts, no big deal there. This is the cable, which we lubed all the cables up and got these all moving nice and free now. So these are your fresh air boxes underneath. inside of there for inside the cab, so they're controlled both sides. So it actually has split zone climate control.
Wow.
To an extent. So one of Studebaker's interesting.
You got that new
contraptions.
heater motor rebuilt back in there?
So we got a new blower motor with a new fan on it. That we got from a school bus place.
Nice.
So we got school bus parts on it, but so we still need to hook up the horn, which here's the horn relay. So we got to hook that to power, ground, and all that fun stuff. But yeah, so basically brakes, carburetor, all the charging system, bunch of wiring, hoses, new fluids, antifreeze and everything. So we'll go down the line here. We got this trim back on. Could use a little polishing. We got our Champ badges on the side.
Same mirrors.
New mirror. This was the
mounting bracket.
I wouldn't have put this on there had it not already been there, but the holes were there, so we just put new actual metal mirrors on it. We put, I want to say, the door handles were off, weren't they?
I think so. At some point.
I think the door handles may have been off. So that we put new weather stripping all in the door, so hopefully it's not super windy. Carpet, sill plates, kick panels, lock pillars, both sides, glass, front and rear. Rear view mirror, I blasted this, painted it, sun visors,
gauges.
You know, we did the gauges, we painted these bezels, put a new glove box liner in here. Unfortunately, the new sending unit and the fuel tank doesn't work on the.
Oh.
They don't jive, so we had to put a little auxiliary gauge down in there. You know, same thing. This just had a bunch of idiot lights, which I don't really like.
Yeah.
So we've got an actual oil pressure gauge, water temp, and a voltmeter as opposed to an amp meter. It's a little bit safer. Clean the shift boot up. It's got new old stock clutch and brake pads, new old stock gas pedal. Steering wheel, I was able to score that with the horn mechanism, and the horn ring is not great, but they're kind of tough to find because they weren't very well made. We blasted and painted all of the trim pieces that go around the dashboard. Seat obviously reupholstered. We did a little patchwork on the floor. We did some foam underneath there to kind of make it look a little bit nicer. We could pull the cover tighter. Sill plates, dome light, all the paper stuff had been replaced. So we polished, buffed, which we still have one more polish coat to do, one more polish buff to do. New backup lights, new tail lights, license plate lights.
Tailgate's coming.
The tailgate is on its way. Sorry,
the bed's
we didn't
alright.
get to do that. So we'll have new chains and new tailgate.
I'm gonna blast the rims, paint the rims.
Yep, bead blast those. And if you'll remember, we had the axles out. We resealed those. You can actually still see where I haven't cut off the RTV excess yet. So we had those slid out. We had the axles out. Serviced the rear end. Like I said, I blasted this filler neck, which goes behind the back seat. Painted that. So we got a nice little filler neck. Same thing, sill plates, door panels, window cranks, escutcheons. I found these green, very slightly used armrests. Yeah, not much to do there. We kind of cleaned up the gauges. We got speedo working. Bluetooth, which that's one more thing we ought to show, is we just were able to mount some speakers underneath the seat that are already enclosed.
Nice.
Our Bluetooth radios right here. It's not really a radio, it's just an amplifier that'll hook up to your phone. One more thing I'm waiting on to get here. It should have been here already, but we ordered a knob for this. There's a special knob for the hood release. So right now we're just using a pair of pliers. Same thing, badges, trim, shocks, everything, you know, just an overall greasing, servicing. That's basically a quick synopsis of what we had to do to this thing. So, all said and done, it's pretty much ready to go out. Squeaking so bad.
It's got a musical hood. Very rare. This is a very rare
Yeah, that was
model.
a rare option.
Hey, that's how you know it's coming around the corner. Just to warn the other drivers.
Ah, you're the best. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Bob.
You guys.
Although,
Stop it.